Have you ever walked through fire? Not literal flames, but the fire of life. The kind that burns your heart, that leaves scars on your soul. The fire of betrayal, the fire of grief, the fire of losing everything you once held dear. You might feel like you're standing alone in that fire, screaming for help while the world walks by. But God sees you. God knows the fire you're in. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. Isaiah 43:2. This verse isn't just poetry, it's a promise. God didn't say, if you walk through fire, He said when, because the fire is guaranteed. Pain is part of the journey, but so is His presence. He says, I will be with you. Not watching from a distance, not waiting on the other side, with you, right there, in the middle of the flames. You don't have to be surrounded by flames to know what fire feels like. Fire looks like the hospital waiting room where you prayed for a miracle, and it never came. Fire looks like watching your marriage fall apart even though you begged God to save it. Fire feels like burying someone you love and wondering how to keep breathing. That kind of pain makes you question everything. You start to wonder, God, are you even here? Did you hear me? Why didn't you stop it? And still, the flame burns. And still, God whispers, I'm with you. You may not see Him right away, but He's there, in the strength that got you out of bed when you wanted to give up, in the friend who called just when you were about to break, in the quiet moments where you cried and somehow felt peace anyway. That's not coincidence. That's God showing up in the fire. He's not the God who keeps you from all pain. He's the God who never lets you walk through it alone. There are stories in the Bible where God showed up in the fire, literally, not just emotionally, not just spiritually, but physically. Let's go to Daniel chapter 3. 3 young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, refused to bow to a king's false god. So they were thrown into a blazing furnace. The fire was so hot, the guards who threw them in died instantly. And yet, when the king looked into the flames, he jumped back and said, Didn't we throw 3 men into the fire? But I see 4, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods. Daniel 3:25. The fire didn't touch them. Their clothes weren't burned. They didn't even smell like smoke. Why? Because God stepped into the fire with them. The fire didn't go away. But they were not alone. And they walked out stronger, untouched, and with a testimony that shook a kingdom. Your fire may not be a furnace like Daniel's friends faced, but maybe it's financial pressure. Maybe it's heartbreak. Maybe it's that silent battle with anxiety, depression, or fear that nobody else sees. You smile in public but cry in private. You encourage others while you're barely holding on. You pray, but wonder if your prayers are just bouncing off the ceiling. But God hears you. He sees what no one else sees. He knows the fire you're in, even the fire you don't talk about. And He's already there. Not after the fire. In the fire. Right in the middle of your worst days. Right in the moments you felt forgotten. He hasn't abandoned you. He's holding you through it. Sometimes God doesn't remove the fire because the fire is shaping you, purifying you, preparing you for what's next. You think this fire is going to destroy you. But what if it's the very thing God is using to reveal who you really are? You may be walking through the fire right now. It might be quiet, hidden, internal, but it's still burning. And it's okay to feel weak. It's okay to cry. It's okay to not have it all together. Because you're not the one who has to win this battle. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still, to trust Him, to surrender. Even when you don't understand, even when it hurts, even when it takes longer than you expected. God is faithful. He's not done with you. He's not disappointed in you. He's not walking away. He is the God who steps into the fire with you, and when you come out on the other side, you won't even smell like smoke. So take a deep breath, let go, and trust the one who's already gone ahead of you. If you believe God is fighting for you, type Amen in the comments. Let the world know you're not standing alone in the fire. Have you ever felt like the weight of the world is on your shoulders? Like every step forward feels heavier than the last? You're trying to be strong. For your family, for your friends, for yourself. But on the inside, you're tired, exhausted, barely holding it together. You smile when you're expected to. You say, "I'm fine," when you're anything but fine. And maybe right now, you're wondering how much longer you can keep going. There's a verse in Isaiah that says, "Even to your old age and gray hairs, I am He. I am He who will sustain you. I have made you, and I will carry you. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you." Isaiah 46:4. Let those words sink in for a moment. I will carry you. Not I might. Not I'll help you from a distance. But I will carry you. When your strength fails, when your legs give out, when your heart can't take another break. God doesn't step away. He steps in. He lifts the weight you can't lift. He holds you when you can't stand. He becomes your strength when you have none left. Sometimes, the heaviest burdens are the ones no one else sees. The pressure to look like you have it all together. The fear that if you fall apart, no one will be there to catch you. The guilt of feeling weak when everyone thinks you're strong. You go through your day smiling, serving, helping, and giving, while inside, you're running on empty. You say yes to everyone, but you're silently screaming no inside. And when you finally get a moment alone, you fall into bed with your heart racing and your soul aching. These are the burdens we carry in silence. The emotional weight, the mental battles, the invisible exhaustion. But hear this, God sees it all. He sees the tear that falls when no one is watching. He hears the unspoken prayers. He knows the strength it takes just to keep showing up. And He says, I will carry you, not because you're failing, not because you're not enough, but because you were never meant to carry it alone. You're not the first person to feel overwhelmed. In 1 Kings 19, the prophet Elijah, the man who called down fire from heaven, ends up hiding in a cave, praying to die. He had just faced hundreds of false prophets, stood alone in bold faith, and yet one threat from a queen sent him running into despair. He says to God, I have had enough, Lord. Take my life. 1 Kings 19:4. Elijah, a man of miracles, wanted to quit. But what did God do? He didn't scold him. He didn't tell him to be stronger. He fed him. He let him rest. He whispered to him gently in the silence. God carried Elijah when Elijah couldn't carry himself. Then there's David, the shepherd, the warrior, the king. He had victories and devastating failures. He knew what it was like to be betrayed, hunted, and completely alone. In Psalm 55, David says, Oh, that I had the wings of a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. David didn't want to fight. He wanted to escape, but God never left him. Through every cave, every battlefield, every heartbreak, God carried David. And don't forget Paul, imprisoned, beaten, shipwrecked, left for dead more than once. Yet he wrote, "When I am weak, then I am strong." 2 Corinthians 12:10. Why? Because Paul knew he was being carried. Maybe God is carrying you right now. Maybe you thought you were weak, but that strength you had to get through the day, that was him. Maybe you thought you were alone, but that moment of peace in the middle of your panic, that was him. Maybe you thought you were forgotten, but the right words came from a stranger. The song on the radio said exactly what you needed to hear. The verse you opened to gave you hope. That was him. It's always been him. He carried you through that breakup, through the funeral, through the empty bank account, through the late night tears, through the mornings when you didn't want to get up, through the silence, through the waiting. You didn't survive because you're strong. You survived because he carried you. And here's the truth. He's not done. You might be tired. You might be at the edge. But you are not alone on that ledge. You are being held. So stop trying to carry it all. Let him do what only he can do. Maybe you've been trying to carry it all. The pain, the pressure, the people. You've been strong for so long that you forgot how to fall. And you forgot that God is the one who catches you. So take this moment. Breathe. Really, right now, breathe in. Let go of what you're gripping so tightly. The fear, the shame, the what-ifs, the need to control everything. Lay it down. Let him carry you. He created you. He knows you better than you know yourself. He's not surprised by your struggle. He's not tired of your tears. He's not overwhelmed by your silence. He says, "I will carry you. I will sustain you. I will rescue you." Isaiah 46:4. Not just when you feel strong, but especially when you don't. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to earn his love. You just have to be willing to let him in. So today, say it out loud or whisper it in your heart. God, I can't carry this anymore. I need you to carry me. And if that's your prayer, type Amen in the comments. Let the world know you're not standing alone anymore. You're being carried.